Welcome to another episode of Real Talk. If you're joining us for the first time, on this forum we deal with real issues of life. We talk with real people, and they share their views, they share their experiences. As the saying goes, experience is the best teacher, and I am a believer of that. On this forum with us today, I have two distinguished gentlemen. Here I have with me,
Prince Adebayo Frank Aditosuri.
and I have,
Adebayo Adeleke.
why do some men cheat on their wives?
Last time I checked online was about 28 different reasons why men cheat, but actually, in actuality, there is no definite reason. It boils down to different marriages that most men find themselves, and some people actually they find as their only result is to solve this problem in their marriages by seeking affection of another woman outside of the marriage. But it's all boiled down to not being satisfied.
I'll say the same thing, from research and documentation and life in general. One of the things that's been documented is that dissatisfaction that men, when after a period of time they're not getting what they want, they're not feeling satisfied. That could be one of the reasons, one of the most documented reasons why men sometimes seek outside of the matrimonial home and look elsewhere.
If a man is not satisfied in his home, in his marriage sexually, what are those things he could do to bring life back into the home without necessarily stepping outside of the box?
Like I said, back again to that, when a man met a woman, or when they first met, there was this passionate love that, he couldn't even see anybody else, standing next to her or next to him. You need to go back to that love again. Find a way to rekindle yourself back and take yourself back to that love again.
I know that when we meet each other, when couple meet themselves, initially, you're fantasizing about the way she looks, about her figure and all that good stuff. And after having one or two kids, she's not looking as beautiful as she used to be. She's probably stressed, over the home issues about work and all that. Should that be a factor for a man to cheat on his wife?
Not at all. As we all know, all of us we're gonna grow and age at one point in our lives, and we don't expect women who were married 20 years ago to remain the same. And if you're blessed, I've seen women that have maintained the same figure for over quite 2-3 decades. Actually, some how can I put it? Just like a wine, the older they are, the finer they become, and but that shouldn't be a factor at all. The beauty, the everything that you saw at the first sight will definitely come and go. But the love that you have is the bedrock. It stands there. Regardless of whatever happens, you always go back to, like Mr. Frankson, you always go back to that first love, to that first sight, what happened, how you guys fell in love. Because if you always go back to that source, it's just like a source. If you always go back to that source, I think everything else will figure itself out.
I want us to be very real here, because here we say we're real people and it's real talk. And my question goes to you, Frank. If your wife is not looking good, she's looking tatty. Come on, let's be honest, let's be real. And there's some lady at your job, she's always well dressed. Are you going to motivate your wife to at least do something, or you're just going to say, okay, because I don't want to hurt her feelings, I don't want to step on her toes, I'm just going to let it go, or I'm going to do something like go to the store, go to the mall and say, babe, I found this earring, I think it would look nice on you. I found this piece of lipstick. What do you think you could do? Or what could you do how could you relate that to your wife, that, babe, I want you to step up,
Oh, definitely. If your wife is not the fashion or the one that I want to impress, there's some things that you can do directly without making her feel inferior. You can encourage her indirectly by, like you said, buying few things, maybe lingerie, some few things. There has to be something that she like, that she puts it on. And every woman loves to look good, they love to look good. So you have to find out what exactly, ticks a button, provide that for her, then she'll feel empowered, and that way to that point that she will even demonstrate to you, okay, even though I'm not the fashionable person, I have enough, vibe to influence you as my spouse, so that you wouldn't have to look outside there. And it's an ongoing process, so don't do it just one time and think, oh, I think I've done it well, That should not be an excuse for you also to to look outside. Someone that you mentioned at work or that's always fashionable. They have everybody have their reason why. Some people might be, dressing up or dressing up in fashion, but deep within themselves, they have different other issues going on.
Who do you think trusts less, the man or the woman, and why?
I hope you don't take no offense taken on this, but from my point of view, it's women for the most part. And I have my reasons, though. I do have my reasons. We all trustless at one point. We find ourselves in certain predicaments. Or certain scenarios over the years. There's men and women have reasons for trusting less, but for the most part, I think women are, because the way they are, and what their husband has put them through. They have every reason to be. But from my point of view, women are.
Okay, I'm a woman, and I agree with you that we trust very less. But there are issues, there are circumstances that brings that part of us out. Like someone who lies to you habitually, someone who says, I am going here, and you don't find them there, you find them here. But you always try to give them the benefit of the doubt. So what do you say to that?
Back again to that, trust again, men and women are wired differently. Women are designed to keep track of things very well. A little bit more than men. Men will know, okay, it's there. So on that note, women needs to be more. I guess you can explain to your spouse, okay. I want you just let me know a few things is going on. And that way you make them rest assured that they're comfortable about where things are with you. So in that way they trust you a little bit more.
If a man keeps getting a phone call from some stranger,
okay,
and you claim to be very open with your wife, you claim not to have any secrecy, and every time the phone rings, you run to the garage, you run to your bedroom, you run to the bathroom, anywhere but the presence of your wife. If she doesn't trust you, would you blame her?
That's a loaded question, if I may. But there's, one has to understand from that the man perspective as well. Why he's running to the garage? Is what they're talking about? Is it business related that the third ear cannot hear about it? If that's the situation, then if only Brown can discuss. But if that is only talking, how are you doing? And, are you going to the mall or something like that? Then there's some issues there,
Okay.
So
What do you think men could do to actually, help their women from being, because, it's a competitive world we live in. What do you think men could do to actually help reduce some of this unnecessary outbursts from their wives that would eventually lead, to the breakage of their home?
It's not natural to bring two people together, from different backgrounds, and then all of a sudden expect them to sail through life, But so you have to, it's a continual process. You have to continue to develop yourself as human beings, and then develop your relationship. As a friend, another friend told me, just simple marriage is just like a checking account, it's a banking account. You have to have more deposit than the withdrawals you have. You have more withdrawals in your bank account, it goes into red, then you're gonna have serious issues down the road. But in the communication as a bedrock of any relationship, and so is the marriage. Straight communication every time. Look, darling, I cannot tell you this because we're still at the initial phase of this project. So I like, if you see me, receiving phone calls in the weird hours of the night, don't take it as, my mistress or something like that. At least to give her a leeway for her, okay, at least something trust. But it's all about communication. You have an open mind, no hidden skeleton in your closet, and I think things will work well. If the couple that communicates actually go a long way. So,
do you have, or do you think your wife should have an access to your network, your media network? And before you answer that question, we will be back. Do you think your wife should have an access to your media network, like a password? You know, where she could also always go on your Facebook account, your Twitter account, and check on things.
I think very, very much yes. You know, in the marriage, you know, when two people come together, they are one. Once you become one, everything is the same. You have the same bank account. You have the same house. Basically, you're trying to merge two into one. So the moment that you become secretive and start to hide things, then you know there's suspicions start to build up there. Okay, he's hiding something because he's doing something. You don't want to get to that point. There are some times in life, again, back when Mr. Baye, when you mentioned, where for the sake of the purpose of the issue that you're working on, you want to work on something and present it to your spouse, or finish it and bring it to. There might be occasions, you know, when you have to do that, but it shouldn't be an every time occurrence where that happens. You should be open. Your life should be open to your spouse. That to that point that they can trust you. That oh, he's taking, you know, he's posting this. I don't have to worry about that. There's no secret, hidden social account that I have that I'm communicating, impersonating another person. You know, so
that's possible. I would like to take you back a little bit. You mentioned something about bank account, and that makes me want to say this, that there are times how we grow up also has a huge factor on who we've become.
that's true.
If
Absolutely
we
right.
don't really go back to actually change that negative part of our lives and reroute. I remember when I was growing up, my parents did everything separate. You know, they had separate this and separate that. And when I got married, it was the same. And I kept asking people, why should you have a different bank account with your wife? You know, if you say I love you to death, to us part, we'll do everything together. Why should, even though some women agreed with the man that, hey, we don't have to have a different account as long as you're coming up with your own part of the bill or taking care of the children. If you were to answer the same question, I mean, should your wife have, you know, access to your network account, your bank account, everything that has your name on it?
My wife has access to all my social network. I really don't have much of social life anyways, but she has much of it. So, but one thing though, I mean, she knows that she can't post in my name because I have difference of opinion. You know, she can't go over there and start like, you know, LOL or liking, but she has access to it, of course. Because and people will know that, of course, this is not by actually responding, because I have my own ways of doing things. But now back to the case of a checking account, it should be one. But I understand. I mean, for most people, I think for what works well is you have one separate account, one joint account, and then if you have a separate account on the side that you want to do your own small project and you want to do something as far as you want to surprise him or something like that, you know, which is allowable, but you will have one huge pot of money that everyone can dip in at any point in time, you know.
And
so.
I know you're a very successful man, and I know there is somebody out there watching. They've been listening to you. In one word, could you talk to someone at home and advise them?
Just be open. If you're open to your spouse, everything else will work fine. Just be open. Let us see your vulnerability, your strong suit, and everything. Just be open. Everything else will take care of itself.
And what would you say?
I mean, the same thing, open, and also you have to trust each other. Make your life communication. You communicate about who you are. Your spouse will know who you are, and by being open and trusting each other, it's an ongoing process where you can work on issues of life, because life is a continuous process.
Thank you so much. Finally, my final word to you out there is, for our relationship to be meaningful in life, we have to be transparent. We have to be open. It eradicates a lot of suspicions. It strengthens our love, and we can discuss anything with one another. We can share in each other's strength and weakness. And these are the topics that we have for you today. And until next time, be a delight.